Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 88 of Direwolf20's Enigmatica 2 Expert Mode series. Today my goal is to use integrated dynamics to get our celestial crystals perfect purity and cutting. That's the goal. And we're going to see if we can pull that off today. So we're gonna be using all kinds of cool stuff. And I'd like to also set it up so that we can dupe our crystals so that we can have, like, basically an unlimited number of crystals is basically what I'm going for here, right? That's the hope. So we're gonna do our best to make that a reality. So I think what I'm gonna do is just rearrange this stuff a little bit, because what I want to have is I want to make sure that everything looks halfway decent. I don't know, like, it doesn't have to be perfect, but looking nice would be nice. So last episode we played with integrated dynamics a little bit, right? And I showed you guys how you can analyze the data of entities, right? So what I'm going to do for the moment is I'm going to disable that liquid dude. So let's get a redstone torch. So we can turn this guy off. Boop, boop. So now you guys need pulses to run, right? And we're going to pick this stuff up so that it's not actually there, because I don't want to mess while I'm prepping this stuff. All right, so now what we're going to do is first we want to get it so that we can analyze the celestial crystal that's sitting in the world, right? So to do that, pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and do dirt here, because why not? Everything else is. Okay. Similar to what we did last episode, right? We're just going to pop our entity reader in the world, and we're going to get a variable card that links to whatever entity is sitting in front of this block. Okay. And then we're going to use our portable logic guy, and we're going to get the MBT thing going on. And we're going to read the MBT of the entity sitting in front of the block. Easy peasy. Cool with me so far. All right, so into the variable store goes the entity card. And into the display will go this thing. And this will validate, this is basically what we set up at the end of last episode, right? So now we're analyzing the entity that's sitting in front of that card. Now, the item tag down there on the NBT data, this item tag that says item, forge caps, astral sorcery, yada, 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 that's the one we're going to dig into to analyze what the size of the crystal is. Right, so this is case sensitive, and so that means you have to care about capital letters versus lowercase. So the first thing we want to do is get the item tag. So to get that is pretty straightforward, right? First, we need a variable called a string type variable, and we're going to name it item. That matches the first tag that we want to read, because NBT basically stores data in what's called tags. So the first one here is item, and then we're going to dig into forge caps. And then we're going to dig into astral sorcery, right? So step one is item. So let's get that, okay? So we have a string called item. Now there's an NBT tag. Let's see. So we are going to get NBT string, because that thing is a string right now, right? Pretty sure that's the one we want. Or is it tag? It might be tag. Yeah, I think we want NBT.tag. Yeah. So if I put, we're going to take this, which is the NBT tag of the item sitting on the ground, right? And we do NBT tag. And then we have to give it the string, because as you see here, it says type 1 is an NBT and type 2 is a string. So we have to give it a string. So that's item. So I'm basically saying take that big, huge tag with all that information and give me the data stored in the item tag. Okay? So we get that variable. We're going to put these two into the variable store, and we're going to put this guy right here. So now when I drop the item on the ground, we're going to see just what's stored in that item tag. Remember, it was item, and then forge caps, and then astral sorcery, and then a bunch of stuff. So we're getting deeper into the NBT tag data. So the next one is forge caps with a capital F and a capital C. So now we're just going to kind of repeat what we did a few times, right? So string forge caps. Okay. So we want to get the forge caps thing out of this one, right? So we can search for NBT tag, and we'll take that big long NBT thing and say, just give me the forge caps data. Cool. And then we pop these two, and we throw this one in the display. And you can see we're digging down, digging down. Cool. Neat. Now, I'm actually not sure if I'm digging into the right one. Oh yeah, my bad. I don't want forge caps. I want tag. So that's the one that has the crystal properties info. So we're going to just change that up, right? All we got to do to switch that is change this string here to tag. And that should work for us. So if I take you out, there we go. So now we're going to get into the crystal properties. Cool. So the next tag we want to dig down into is astral sorcery, all lowercase, right? So we'll just go ahead and I'm gonna take this MBT tag that we're digging into, right? We're gonna make a string called astral sorcery, all lowercase. Okay. And we're basically just digging down into all the data that's stored on that item. So now if we pop these two guys into there and throw this in here, crystal properties is the next one with a capital P. So crystal properties is the next one. Okay. So we'll do a string crystal properties. Okay. And then a tag, this guy to this guy. So now if we read this value, we'll see, aha! Now we're getting the exact attributes of the crystal. Collective capacity is the cutting, right? Size is the one that we care about. And purity, in theory, should always be 100, right? Because whenever we split crystals with this fluid placer, it's going to split into two crystals of equal to or greater than the purity that's on the crystal as it stands, right? So this one's size 801, right? So if I pick up this crystal, and we drop him on the ground, we'll see size is 801. Nice. All right. So now we want to get that size value all by itself. So to do that is pretty similar to what we've been doing, right? We're going to create a string variable called size, because that's what we want. Okay. And then in this time, instead of getting an MBT tag, we're going to get an MBT integer, because the size is stored as an integer, right? So I'm going to say, give me the MBT integer in the size variable, right? So we're going to take these guys, and that should be the size variable. So right now it's 0. This guy's size is 628. I drop him on the ground. We see 628. How cool is that? Right? So what we've done is basically start with the NBT tag of the entity and drill down into the lower values of the NBT value until we find the size. Right? And now we know the exact size of this crystal. So now we can do some logic operations to basically say once the size reaches 900, we can pick up the item. Does that sound cool? So the variable on this card, right, is the size of the crystal. So let's compare it to another number, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an integer, and we're going to call it 750 for now, right? We want this to be 900, but for now we're just doing this to demonstrate, because I have a crystal that's less than 750 and a crystal that's bigger than 750, so you're going to see how this works, right? So this is the size of the crystal on the ground. This is just the number 750. So what we want to do is create a greater than. Yeah, we'll do greater than for now, right? And we'll say if the size of the crystal is greater than 750. Now this returns a Boolean, which is basically just a true or false, right? So we're going to pop this in here. And now we're going to put these guys in there, and we'll put this in here. So right now, the size of the crystal greater than 750 is false. And that's accurate, right? Because this crystal is 628. This crystal is 801. So what I'm going to do is drop him on the ground, and it comes back as true. Make sense? So instead of doing that, right, what we want to actually do is compare the size of the crystal to the number 900. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to change this integer to 900. And we're going to change this to an equal then. And we're just going to say, is the size of the crystal equal to 900? And that's going to be our true or false. Cool? So when we put these guys in here, and we put this in there, it's going to be false, obviously, because there's no crystal there. And right now it's false because the crystal's not size 900. Okay? So let's go ahead and let this thing, do its thing. And what I'm going to do is drop the 801 crystal in there, And we're just going to let that sit for a minute. And what should happen is the crystal should eventually grow to size 900, and then that's going to flip to true. Cool? Well, would you look at that? It says true all of a sudden. I literally just stood here and it flipped over to true, right? So we go pick up this crystal, and guess what? It's size 900. Sweet. So now we have a way to detect if the crystal is size 900 or not. So we're going to use that to pick up items from the world using the world item importer. So this one's cool, right? So what I want to do is get a couple things like somewhere to store these items. So how about a crate for now? Does that sound cool? Good. So that's where we're going to store our good stuff, right? So let's pop the crate, I don't know, like right here. Does that sound cool? So to use the world item importer, think of this a little bit like applied energistics-ish, right? So to use these things, right, what we need first is an item interface. And this works just like in applied energistics. Think of what's it called? The storage bus, right? The storage bus. So this is very much like a storage bus from applied energistics, where items can be inserted or extracted from this inventory using this smart little system of ours. Cool. All right, so I'm going to pop this dude here, and that'll connect that storage bus. Now, if you right-click on the item interface, you'll notice that there's a bunch of stuff. So like target side is the side that it inserts or extracts from, right? So if this was like a furnace and we wanted to insert into the right slot, we could specify which side to interact with, right? It also gets a priority system and an interface channel because these different interfaces can be on different channels. So you can insert and extract from different inventories, which we'll check out in a minute. So it's super cool, right? The next thing we need to do is have a world item importer, right? And what this does is we're going to pop you there, okay? And we're going to put the world item importer here. And what this does is it picks up items from the world, right? And puts them in an applicable interface. Cool? So we get to use variables to determine what items get picked up, right? So the first one here is a Boolean. It says just pick up all entities, right? And what that'll do is if the Boolean variable that we insert here is true, it'll pick up whatever entity is in front of it and put it in the interface. Well, guess what? We have a Boolean variable, true or false, that tells us if the block in front of it is a size 900. So all we got to do is take this guy and put him right to there, right? So right now, right, check this out. We've got a size 628 crystal. I'm going to drop him in the world, right? He's not picking anything up. We've got a size 900 crystal. I'm going to drop him in the world. And hopefully he gets picked up. I would expect this to work. Is this my... No, that was my 900. Okay, hold on. Come here, you. Come on, bro. 900. Oh! What happened? He picked them up. Haha. So size 900 crystals get picked up, right? Size not 900 crystals stay there until they're size 900. Now, just for fun, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, remember that integer, right, that we know is the value? I'm going to copy that, right? So I'm just going to put this in here. This will erase it, but if you put a blank variable card in there, it'll copy it. So I'm going to do that. Okay, we're going to put this thing back in here so everything continues to work. And I'm going to put this guy in here. And now we can see the size of the crystal as it sits in the pool. Okay, so in a few minutes, right, what we should see is the crystal will coalesce some starlight, and it'll bump up the size. And as soon as the size hits level 900, it should be imported into the chest. That's what I would expect to have happen. Okay? So this is stage one of, well, this is basically our crystal grower, right? Like, that's it. That's pretty much it. We're done. This thing grows crystals for us, right? You know, we're going to have a few more things we want to do. Not going to lie. There's a couple more things in our future to make this a little bit even cooler. But this is step one that I'm hoping you guys understand, because this really is, it's a complicated mod, right? It's not nearly as simple as some of the other mods that we've played with. But I think, as you can see, it's a super powerful mod, right? Integrated dynamics is super powerful if you can kind of understand it. And to be fair, I'm doing something, look, now it's size crystal 726, right? So it collected the crystal, the fluid placer replaced the fluid, and then it increased the size, right? So once it hits size level 900, it's just gonna be done, and it'll suck the item into the chest. How cool is that? I think it's cool, right? Now, to be fair, this thing is only designed to accept one crystal at a time, but that's the way the pool works too, right? Like, you can't You can't have 2 crystals sitting in this pool, because what's going to happen, one of them is going to grow, one of them ain't. So you don't want more than 1 crystal in this liquid spot. But aside from that, we're pretty good, right? Pretty cool. So I guess what I'll do is just like wait for this thing to get close to 900, and then I'll hopefully come back and catch it picking up the item as soon as it hits 900. All right, so we're at 863, which I believe is probably, chances are, right? It's a random number that it's going to grow, right? But chances are it's going to be more than 37. So what should happen in a moment is this crystal will grow, it'll hit level 900 size, and it's going to be sucked into that crate. And once that's done, we will know for sure that any crystal we put in this pool will immediately, well, not immediately, but will automatically upgrade to level 900 and be picked up when it's done. That's cool. And then we're going to work on the crystal duper, right? Because that's next, right? We gotta work on the crystal duping machine, right? So there's 1 celestial in there that's 900, 100, 100, right? The next one's going to be, oh, boom, did it. Look at that. Ha-ha, 900, 100, 100. Perfect. It's working. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so now we know the size of the crystal in this pool. That is cool. All right, so next up, larger crystal amounts, right? So what we want to do is we want to basically, the high level of what we're working towards here is we want to drop a celestial crystal in this pool of liquid starlight. Once it hits level 900, it has a chance to split, right? And it'll turn into 2 entities. So what we want to do is count how many entities are in the world in this position. And if it's greater than 1, pick 1 up. That's what we want to do. Cool? So let's get that set up. Okay. So what I'm going to do is pop this dude here with another entity reader. Okay. And the variable that we're going to do here is going to be this variable, which is a list of entities in the space in front of it. Okay, and we'll stick to putting this guy in here. So for now, I'm gonna temporarily take this variable card, which I want to keep. So I'm gonna do that, and we're gonna do that, right? So if I pop 1 entity here, we'll see celestial crystal, and if I pop another entity there, we're gonna see 2 celestial crystals. Cool. So we know the list of entities in the world, but what we want to do is count how many items are in that list. So to do that is a good question. I'm assuming count predicate, item list count. No. List, something list. I would think. That one has an item input too. Let's see, there's got to be something with lists that'll just give me like a simple count. Size? Maybe size it is? That's item... Let's see. Here's what I'm looking for. Length. That's it. It's this length, right? So you input type is list, output type is integer. So this, if we put this in here, and we put this here, okay, and we put this guy in there, this should tell us how many items are in the world right now, right? So right now it's 0. We drop an item, and it turns to 1. We drop another item, and it turns to 2. So that's a way to count how many items are sitting in the world, right? So we're going to want another world item importer. Okay. And that should craft up for us. Cool. And I want another crate, I think, right? So let's get another one of them. Okay, and this crate's going to sit here, and this is going to collect all the crystals that we're duping, right? And I mean, I use the word duping, but like it's not like we're cheating duping, right? We're just, that's the mechanic of the mod, right? You duplicate your crystals. Okay, so that's going to be your interface right there. We're probably going to need some cabling running around, so a little bit of dire wire for this. Okay, but we're going to put the world item importer here. Okay, so basically we want to pick up items if the count of items, come on, bro, is greater than 2 or greater than 1, right? So if it's greater than 1, pick up items. We don't want to say equal to 2, because if there's 3 there, which should never happen, but you never know. But you know, you want to error proof these things, right? So this is the number of items that are there, right? So now we just need to compare that to the number 1, right? So we just basically say integer 1, okay? And we'll use the greater than, right? So if the number of items is greater than 1, true or false. Okay, so we put these guys in there, we put that in there, false. See it over there? False. 1 item, 2 items is now true. Cool. So that's going to tell us whether we want to pick up an item or not. So over here, we can do the pick up all item entities, but there's some things we can change, right? So if we go into the properties of this item pickup, right, we can change what channel it picks up on. So this guy, remember we talked about channels a little ago? I'm going to bump this interface channel up to 1 and hit save on it so that this guy is now channel 1, okay? This guy is channel 0. Okay, and this world item importer is picking up on channel 0. This guy is channel 1. Okay, so this guy is going to pick up on channel 1. Okay, so that when we go in there, we see channel 1. I'm also going to tell it, let's see, item transfer rate. I think that should be a 1. And hopefully that's accurate, right? So then I just put the greater than card in there. Right? And that should be cool, I think. So what'll happen is, if there's 1 item on the ground, okay. Come on, bro. All right, he's returning false, so he's not picking up an item. If there's 2 items on the ground, he sucks one of them up. How cool is that, right? It doesn't matter what their size is. It doesn't matter what their purity. The purity is always going to be 100, right? Because it's going to split, right? So the purity 100 will turn into 2 purity 100s of random size and cutting, right? So we don't care, right? All I'm going to do is just, bzz, and that's cool, right? How neat is that? So now, right, what's going to happen is I'm going to turn this guy back on. I'm going to drop this in the pool, and he's just going to stay there literally forever and constantly duplicate. Right, because what's going to happen is, as soon as he splits, which can happen anytime, I'm not going to sit here and keep the recording going because it could be the next time it absorbs liquid, or it could be 10 minutes from now, right? But the next time, what will happen is he'll split into 2 crystals. One of them will get sucked into this crate, ready to be grown to a perfect size, okay? And this is going to be my perfect size crate, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And you can go back over here, right? And one of them will stay in the pool. Okay, and that'll be that. Now, if we want, what we could do, which would be neat, would be to display the size of the crystal in the pool. So let's get another display panel. I need more mineral berries? That's interesting. That's interesting to me. To be fair, I used to eat them, so I can see myself being low on them. Is there a way to get more of these? Mineral essence, that's it. Really? I feel like that's weird that we're low on something from this mod. Let's get some bone meal then. What do you say? Huzzah! That's enough for now. At least for now. I like how there's mineral crops, though. That's interesting. So, super quick, what we can do is keep an eye on the size of the crystal that's in there, right? By simply throwing another display up here. And we know exactly what we want to analyze, right? Like, we want to dig into specific, things, right? So we just take the item tag of the reader here, right? So this is going to be a little bit of a duplicate, but that's okay, right? So there's the item, right? And we want to get the NBT of the entity. Okay. now that we have the MBT of the entity, what we need is the item tag, right? So I'm going to borrow Mr. Item Tag, because I already have that. So we're just going to say MBT tag of item. Okay, and we can put you back. And then MBT tag tag. Okay. And then we can put you back. And then we can do MBT tag of Astral Sorcery. And then we can do MBT tag Crystal Properties. And if I did this all correctly, it should just like immediately work, but we'll see if I missed something. It's easy to make a mistake in this mod, to be fair, right? But that's okay, right? And then we want the size, right? So this one will be the MBT integer of the last one size. So I'm basically just reusing my string variables there. Okay, so I put all these guys where they belong. And theoretically, this should tell me the size of the crystal in that pool. Nice! So that's the size of the crystal in this pool, right? So eventually it'll dupe. So we'll come back in like 5 or 10 minutes, and what we should see is that this crystal is no longer size 900, and that there's another crystal in this crate ready to be grown. All right, guys, the greatest test of any automation system is to walk away for half an hour and see what happens. And that's exactly what I did. So we have a size 900 crystal in here, and we've got 2 crystals in here. Sweet. So what happened was this crystal has split twice since we last did anything with it. So that's cool. All right, not too shabby. You got a size 390 and a size 350. Awesome. All right, so that's cool. So now, how about we automatically extract from this chest and get the crystals growing? Does that sound cool? So I think for that, we're going to need a new block from Integrated Dynamics, which I don't know if I taught you how to make. World Item Exporter. Guess what this does? You probably guessed correctly if you guessed. And I don't know that I created an exporter recipe. Did I? Oh, I did create an exporter recipe. Sweet. All right, so I don't have to do that. So this guy should export items into the world rather than import them from the world, meaning we can drop items. I feel like that's accurate, yes. So I would assume that all we really need to do, right, is first off, let's see if there's any items here, right? So to do that, it's very similar to what we did for counting items here, but instead of counting for greater than 1, we're going to count for equal to 0, right? So we're just going to get the items list, right? And we'll get the length variable. This guy. Not that one, this one. The list length. So that should be how many items are in the world right now, right? And then we're going to want an integer of 0. And then we're going to want to check for equals, right? So if the number of items equals 0, true or false. So if I'm right about that, right, we can borrow you for a minute. And so true for 0 items in the world. We drop anything in there and it's false, right? And now it's true. Sweet. All right, cool. All right, so then we're going to want our... so now we know that this variable is what we want to use to spit items out into the world, right? So we're going to have a world item exporter right there, okay? And we're going to place all entities from channel 1, because remember, that's this chest, right? So we're going to go with the channel number 1. Hey, you split. Look, now we have 3 crystals. Beautiful. Sweet. And they're all purity 100, right? And you're now size 63, so you're going to grow back up to 900 and split again. Perfect, right? So this is remember channel 1 here, right? Interface channel 1, right? So that's where we want to export our items from. And dispense, offset, oh, that's right, lifespan, pickup delay, velocity, item transfer rate. Let's make that 1. Cool. Lifespan and ticks, I guess. That's cool. I don't think these things ever expire, so I think we're good, right? So if I just put this true or false into the place all item entities thing, boom, he spits out an item from this chest that will now grow to level 900. And he's only going to spit out one item, right? And as soon as he's grown to level 900 size, right, he's right at 350 right now, but as soon as he grows to level 900, he'll be picked up and put in this chest, and a new item entity will spit out. Ha ha! How cool is that? I like it. I like it. All right. Okay. Okay. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. All right. So the only other trick now would be as if I wanted to automate the cutting, right? Because the cutting is the only thing that's left to be like perfected. So this is basically my to-do list of crystals that need to be grown to level 900. And this is my output chest of all the crystals that are level 900. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to do the cutting thing, right? But I guess we'll find out. Let's see. I might be able to do this. But for that, we're going to need a player simulator, which needs apparently 2 mechanical users. Now that's definitely a custom recipe. I don't think the player simulator being 2 mechanical users is a standard recipe, right? But this might be doable. Might. Okay. So I might want to test this with another crystal. Do we have any crystals that like we don't care about? Yeah, this one will do, because his purity is low. So I'm just gonna mess with like yet another thing here. Can we get another crate? Item exporter? And maybe an item importer? I'm not entirely sure if this is going to be doable or how doable this will be, but it's worth giving it a try. This one I've never tried to do before, right? Hey, look, you did a thing. Perfect. Good job. You go back into my to-do list chest, okay? So these are all the purity 100s. Yeah, picking that item up, cause a new one to spit out. That is cool, all right? How cool is that? How cool is that? That'll do. Okay. How are you doing, Fluid? Not great. Not as great as I would have hoped for. Time in a bottle, help me out. Yeah, the key here is not running out of liquid starlight. Like, that's going to help, right? So we'll just swap these 2 tanks every now and then. I think that's like a smart move, right? Sweet. Do the thing, liquid starlight. All right, so you're growing, right? So now what we might want to try, and I'm debating exactly how I want to do this, because I'm not entirely sure how easy this will be to do. I might want to move this guy, though. And maybe we'll put him back here, because I want to have lots of sides to him, because we need to analyze a lot of stuff to figure out what's up. This one might be tricky. Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, I might want to wait till next episode to do this one, because this one's complicated, if it'll work at all. Hopefully it will. I don't know for sure. But definitely past the wrapping up points and not the kind of thing we can do in the next 5 minutes, right? So let's come back next time, and we'll see if we can get you automating the size of the crystal, right? I want to get the cutting to 100 automatically, if possible. It might be tricky. I don't even know for sure if it'll work, but we'll find out. All right, so for now, Devil20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We will come back next time. We will probably have some more fully grown crystals. Like, these guys are all going to fully upgrade to size, 900 over time. And we'll get more of them because this thing's running, right? And this guy's doing his job, and he's constantly duping crystals, right? So he's growing back up to 900, and he's going to split again. This is cool. All right. For now, take it easy.